Hello everybody, this is the Mothership here, and today I'm bringing you a kind of shaky little bit offensive tutorial on how to create an autoexec file for your game. Now this tutorial will actually take some time here. I'm going to try to go through it very quickly. I have tried to record this video. The first time I tried it was like 35 minutes long, and I really wanted to make it shorter. So I'm going to go through this fairly quickly. I'm going to sort of breeze through everything. I'm going to give you a little explanation of what everything is, but I'm trying not to go into too much detail so it doesn't take forever. Now, if you don't know what an autoexec is, it's a file that loads up as soon as you start your game that inputs a lot of settings so that you know, or that you have them all at the same time. You can always have a different autoexec for a different computer if you want, or you can just copy the same one over and it'll put in like your sensitivity, your volume, everything like that. Now, if you already know what an autoexec is, let's hop right into the tutorial. Now you're going to go to a site, and this is the easy way to do it. You could type each command up by yourself, but this is a very useful site, and it's called it's autoexec, autoexec.global-hyphen offensive.com, and you're going to go there, and once we load up this site here, I can tell you what everything's about. It's a little tutorial on what to do, not helpful enough, clearly, because I'm making this video. And there's a bunch of tabs, and every time you fill out one of the tabs, you can hit Update AutoExec, and it will put your AutoExec down here. Now, the first tab is Rates. At the end of this tutorial, of course, we're going to copy all of the AutoExec files and everything, and we're going to move it into a folder, and we're going to put it there, and it's going to be good. All will be well and done. I'll show you how to get it to work and everything like that. Now this is the rates, and if you want to play in 128-tick servers, like most people are going to want to sometime in their life, and a lot of community servers are 128-tick because they're nice. Matchmaking is 64-tick, but that doesn't matter. These are just their max rates. So set your rate to 128,000, your CMD rate, and your update rate to both 128. Now, this just deals with the amount of information packets sent to the server. It's good. You should have this at 128. There's no harm in putting it as high as 128. But if you put it at 64, you're going to be capped. So move it up. If you know what you're doing, you probably don't need to watch this tutorial any further because you already have the site, everything. But I'm just going to give a quick rundown. Now, interp, just leave it as it is. If you don't know what you're doing, just leave the interps. You don't want to change that. Lag compensation server side is what it says. It's lag compensation, and that is good to have. So leave it on. Now, audio is how loud you want your volume to be. I like this personally at 0.35, but a lot of people like to leave it full and change it in their volume mixer, things like that. Voice enable is if you can hear people talking in, say, deathmatch or something, or competitive. If you want to hear people talking, you should leave this checked. Voice scale is how loud people are, so if you don't like people being loud and you play a lot of surf, stuff like that, you don't want to talk to people, 0.5 is good. If you leave it at 1, I like 1 because I can hear my teammates clearly in competitive, things like that. Now, Windows speaker config, if you don't know what you're using, put it at -1, like you don't know what speakers you're using. If you're using a headset, put it at 1. And if you know what speakers you're using, put it at 3, 4, or 6, depending on which one. Now, continuing on, we're going to go to music volume. This one is deceiving because I put it at 0, but I like music, so I'm going to put my music volume at 0.35. Now, this is, good to have if you want to hear the bomb timer, if you want to hear music on the loading screen, things like that. You can also change those settings in-game. So I like my music volume on. If you don't like it, put it at 0. If you like it on full, put it at 1. Now, sound delay, this is something that's usually set to 0.1. It's the delay in sound between when something happens in the game and when you hear it. If you set this too high, you're going to be like, someone will step, and then in 2018, you're going to be like, oh, there's one on cat. And it's just like way down the line, you'll hear it. It's a bad thing to change here because 0.05 is the best. If you set it too low, it will mess things up. So don't touch this. Leave it at 0.05. Headphone pan exponent, this is a command not a lot of people know about, but it does help, so leave it at 2, it'll help you hear things. Pan radio, leave that at 2 also. Legacy surround means you're using an old sound system, it's not something you really want. Mute game when in Windows, that is a check for me because I don't like to hear the game when it's tabbed out. Some people do, I use dual monitor, so occasionally I do, but usually I want to leave the game muted when I'm tabbed out and it'll resume sound when I get back in. Voice chat in lobby, this does not mean you can chat in lobby. This means you will always have the chat turned on immediately when you enter a lobby. So basically if you join up a lobby and you start snorting cocaine, everyone's going to be able to hear it unless you turn your microphone off. So it's kind of like you're guilty until proven innocent. Your mic is on until you turn it off, instead of the whole join in, and if you want to talk, you can hit the mic button. But usually you want to leave that unchecked, so you're not annoying. And now when you get to the bottom of this one, if you changed anything, you're going to want to update your autoexec. So you don't have to change anything in rates, but if you do, you want to hit update autoexec at the bottom of this one. But over here, you're going to hit update autoexec once you're done with all that audio stuff. Now, if at any point during the video you want to change something that you already did, you can always go down here to the bottom, and you can go to volume, and you can put it at that, like at 0.07, like that, and you can just leave it at that. And as long as you don't re-update the audio tab, like you can go update rates again, and it'll leave the volume here. But if you go back to audio and you update it, it's actually no, it doesn't. Sorry, no, it doesn't change things that you change yourself. So don't worry about that. It'll only change it if you change it up here. So you can change anything you want down in this text here, and they're all under / headings. Now moving on to video monitor gamma. If you don't know what you're doing with that, I suggest that you just remove it entirely from your autoexec file, or you can look it up if you like. Video processing Q mode, multi-core rendering, leave it on -1. It'll figure it out for you. Vertical sync, you probably don't want that. If you do, check it. FPS max, if you have more than 144, or if you have a 144 Hz monitor, I suggest you set it to 300. If you have a 60 Hz monitor, set to 60. If you have a laptop, set it to 60 probably. I'll just leave it at 60 for purposes of this tutorial. But that will save you some processing power if you have it capped. So that is a good thing. If you have 144 Hz, that's just how many frames you can turn on your monitor. I like it at 300, so it has extra frames. You probably have a powerful computer if you're getting more than 300 frames. Dynamic, no, you don't want it. Draw particles, no. Draw tracers in first-person mode, you don't want that, unless you do for aesthetics, but I would say you don't, because tracers are the things that, like your bullet paths, and if they don't come from your eyes to the target like your bullets do, they come from your gun model to the target, so it can look like bullets are going through people. You don't want tracers if you want to know where your bullets are going. So I'm going to update the autoexec there. And then I don't really want the monitor gamma because I already have that set in my video settings, so I'm going to just take that out. And moving on to mouse, if you know your sensitivity, you can put it in right now. Mine is 2.6 and my zoom sensitivity is 1.0. Zoom sensitivity is how fast your mouse moves while like in a sniper rifle. A lot of Battlefield players are going to 1.65 just because it's how they played before. But sensitivity 2.6 is the way I like it. You can set to whatever you want. If you don't want it in there, remember you can always delete it. So if you already have your sensitivity set and you don't want to look it up, that's fine. Raw input just means that the polling for your mouse goes directly from your mouse to the game. It does not go through Windows. So I like raw input, so I can just have 400 DPI, 2.6 sensitivity, no Windows stuff input. Most acceleration means your mouse goes really fast if you move it really fast, and it goes really slow if you move it really slow. You probably don't want that if you're competitive, so just leave that as it is if you don't know what you're doing again. So, oops, zoom sensitivity, I forgot to put that on. Okay, there we go, 1. Now, miscellaneous developer console, you're going to want that for just developing and console stuff. These are good things to have if you'd like console. I have a tutorial on that. It'll be in the description, probably in some annotation. Now, the filter effect, you don't need to worry about that really if you don't want to. It can just help you with things like seeing damage will be highlighted if you set it to 2. Like when you do damage someone or if they do damage to you, it'll be highlighted in your console. If you set it to 1, everything else will be deleted except the console damage stuff. So I like 2, it's nice. Don't show community server messages. You usually want that checked. Max ping looking for matchmaking server. I like that set to like 80 because 80 is playable. Like anything under 80, you're gonna be fine. If you are in like Indonesia and you need to play at 130 ping because you just don't have anything better, set to something like 20 above your usual ping is usually a good number. So 80, I usually get 35 ping, but I'm just gonna put to 80 for this tutorial. Now, basic game instructions, you probably don't want those unless you're a complete newbie. Toggle duck, toggle walk just means if you press the button, you don't need to hold it down to keep walking. You hit it again to stop walking. So, whether we should force pre-loading, just leave that checked. Download filter, just leave that fine. Disable HTML message of the day. You're going to want to disable that. It can cause issues unless you, for some reason, really want to see it. Usually it's just annoying though, so I would disable it. That's the thing that pops up before you like select your team when you join a game. Automatic help show up, don't worry about that. Disable freeze cam, don't worry about that. You can change it if you'd like, but it does what it says, disables the freeze cam. Show teammates color, that means your teammates will be purple, yellow, blue, orange, and green. If you want that, leave it on. I like it a lot personally because I'm a strat caller. but you can take it out if you want. Automatically switch to better weapon if picked up. Leave that off, please, if you're playing competitive. That is basically if you hold a pistol and you run over a rifle, or you're holding a knife and you run over a pistol or a rifle, it'll automatically switch to it and you'll have to cock it and it could be out of bullets and it's kind of bad basically. So if you're in a firefight and you accidentally pick up a weapon, you're screwed. So I would suggest leaving that off. E opens buy menu. That is something that some people use instead of like the buy key, which is like B, I think, usually set. But if you set E to open buy menu, then when you try to pick up a gun, it'll open the buy menu too, and it's kind of annoying if you're like in spawn trying to switch weapons. So I usually leave that off. Close buy menu every time you purchase something. It does what it says. It closes it if you buy like a flashbang or a gun. It'll just close it. Take a screenshot of a scoreboard after every game if you want to. Go ahead. I personally don't use it, but I think it's a really cool command thing to do. So down here, let's see, what did I not, I don't like this because I already have this configured, so I'm going to take out CL underscore auto help 0, CL underscore show help 0, and CL underscore disable fish cam 1. I'm going to take those out by just deleting them. And continue on. So HUD, heads up display, HUD, whatever you want to call it. HUD scale, you can set that to whatever you'd like. If you know what it is already, set it to that. Personally, I don't need to change it. I like it as it is. So show target ID, don't worry about this. This is like if you're a recorder usually, or if you want to watch demos more cleanly, just leave it how it is. It's nice. But if you want to see everything, you can uncheck it. Right-handed, I am not a right-hand player. I could make a whole tutorial on why I'm not. It's something that like the way my eyes are dominant and how I like to peek corners. It's a lot of things that kind of factor into how I like to play. Also, I just think it looks cool. And it's kind of unique, so I don't play right-handed. But if you do, leave that checked. Show loadout just means you can see all your guns on the right side of your screen without having to switch to one. So that's really useful if you want to like do nades and you need to know what nades you have in a clutch situation without switching guns. Show detailed information. You should leave that unchecked unless you're like trying to figure out how to bunny hop, trying to learn strafe jumping, things like that. In which case you can enable it in game. Show your FPS. I like showing my FPS. It just goes in the top left. It's really easy. It's simple. It's just says how many FPS you have on what map you're on. So. Net graph, I don't like net graph personally. Some people do. It shows like your MS ping. It kind of takes up a big portion of the bottom of the screen unless you scale the size of it, but I do not need net graph. Now, these are all of your FOV settings. You can look up all kinds of tutorials on best FOV settings. I personally really like the FOV settings they have here, especially the offset Z-2 is a really good command. So I'm going to leave that as it is right now, and I'm actually going to go down and delete my HUD scaling because and target ID because I already have those set and I don't remember what they are. So now you're going to go to keybinds. You can set keybinds here if you want. I personally think there are better keybind generators out there. I can make a tutorial on that another day, but if you want to do like just easy keybinds, like if you want to just have a buy op key, you can change these to whatever you want, like buy Galil AR could be there. And this is your numpad. So this would be numpad number 7, this would be 8, this would be 9, this would be 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, something like that. So you can set that if you want. I personally don't like buy binds that are set up here. I like other tutorials, so I'm going to take all of those out. But if you want them, you can have them. Now next up is the radar, and this is the minimap in the top left of your screen. I like it to be centered on my player, so my player is always the middle of the radar. Rotate means that the map rotates when you turn, so I like rotating on, so I can see which direction I'm facing, what's in front of me. Scale, you can set that to whatever you want. That's how big the radar is. I like a radar that's really big because again I'm a strat caller. And icon scale is how big your teammates are on the map. So I'm going to update that. I don't know, again, you can delete anything you don't quite know. So I don't remember, my radar scale is 1. I don't know why I didn't just update the autoexec. But there we go. Radar rotate, good. Radar always centered, 1. Okay, I guess I just forgot to hit update. So there we go, radar is good. And crosshair, I have a crosshair guide. It's going to be in a card annotation thing on the video right now, and it's also going to be in the description. So please click that if you want to learn how to make a crosshair, but otherwise it will always be blank right here. So you can watch that video if you'd like a crosshair, but otherwise we are now done with our autoexec generation here. So I hope that this part helped you, and now we're going to go on to the general installation of the autoexec. So you're going to want to download the autoexec here, and once you start downloading it, oops, that's okay. There we go. You're going to want to name it whatever you want. You could name it like rabies, if you felt like. I personally like to leave it as autoexec because that's it just makes it a lot easier to keep everything like that. So you don't need to change other things. So I would say save it as an autoexec CFG file. Now you save it to your desktop and close out of your window. Alright, so now that we have downloaded our autoexec file right here, we are going to need to put it in our folder of the Counter-Strike Global Offensives. So first go to your library and then scroll down until you find Counter-Strike Global Offensive. Right click on that game, then hit Properties. Next, go to the tab called Local Files. By the way, fellas, in case you're wondering, my Steam looks different than yours. I forgot it looked different than yours because I have a texture pack for Steam, and I'm going to make a video on that eventually, I think, because it's really quite cool. It's Metro for Steam 2.0, something like that. Anyways, it's cool. It won't affect this tutorial, though, I promise. So, go to Local Files. It should be a third tab over for you guys, question mark, and click Browse Local Files. Now, that will take you to your Counter-Strike Global Offensive files, which basically is the same as going to Computer, C drive, Program Files 86, where did you go? Steam, Steam Apps, Common, Counter-Strike Global Offensive, and here we are. Okay, so you want to go into CSGO, and then scroll down until, you might not have this much crap in here, but just find the CFG folder. Go into there, and you will have all of the, actually you probably won't have this many things in here. You might not, who knows. I have a lot of stuff in my Counter-Strike Global Offensive, everything. Now, if you want to just put this over here, it does look a little laggy because I'm recording my desktop with OBS, which does not like me. But what you're going to want to do is take your autoexec.cfg file here on your desktop and drop it in the CFG folder. And it'll go right there and it'll look nice and pretty. Then what you want to do is you want to make sure that these are not on read-only mode. Now, that is the read-only right there, so make sure that's unchecked, apply, and then go into your config.cfg. Why is this not opening? Okay, I use Notepad++. You can just use Notepad if you want to open it. Now, we'll get rid of those. This is your config.cfg. As you can see, I have binds for all kinds of things, but this is just your regular config. Now, at the bottom of all of this, you're going to want to put exec exec autoexec, or whatever you named your CFG. So most of you should have just left it as autoexec. So you just want to do that, and then you want to hit File, Save, and that'll do it like that. Now, if for some reason this is not working later, there we go. If for some reason this is not working later and it's not holding, and it's like overwriting the config file and everything, so that when you come back it doesn't say exec autoexec. If that is failing, you might have to experiment with going to read-only mode and applying that, and applying to subfolders. You may have to do that if it's not working. That's not an issue with the autoexec, that's just an issue with my desktop at least. This is my laptop I'm recording on right now, but sometimes it needs to be on read-only mode, so it doesn't change things. But now you can see it's read-only. I can't edit it. I'm hitting backspace right now, but that just means it won't get changed. So this is one way to lock it in, but you don't have to do this. Don't be confused. Please don't get confused. You don't have to set to read-only usually. I just did. So now that you have your autoexec here and everything is good, you should be fine. You should be good to go. You can launch up Counter-Strike Global Offensive. It will execute your autoexec file and you will be good to go. You'll have everything in there. That's basically it. If you have anything else to add to the autoexec that you want in there, like you probably watched this tutorial because you want to make an autoexec for like a bot deathmatch or something. If you need to add anything, again, just make sure it's not on read-only, apply, okay, go into the autoexec, and you can go down and put your crosshair as CL_crosshair thickness 10,000. I spelled thickness wrong. Anyways, you can change anything you want at any time in here really easily. You don't have to go back into the other program. One thing I do like doing is at the bottom I put a / oops, so it doesn't snap code, and I put my launch options, which will be a whole different tutorial. But that's stuff like no vid and things like that. But don't worry about that. I'll do another tutorial on that. Anyways, thank you for watching. I hope that this video helped you with how to create an autoexec and install it for Counter-Strike Global Offensive. If you have any questions or comments, please put them down below in the comment section. I do read them and I do respond very quickly. And if it's something that a ton of people ask, I will check the description before you ask your questions, actually, because somebody might have already asked it, and I usually put frequently asked questions in the description. But if a ton of people ask it, I will make a video on if there's an issue. But you should be fine. That's all you have to do. It's that simple. Just go have fun. Yeah. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed, like, subscribe, comment, suggestions, criticism, anything. I do love to read it. If you're gonna be like a critic about everything, though, at least be like supportive and helpful with it. So like, instead of saying, "Oh my God, your voice sucks, you're ugly," say, "Oh my God, in my opinion, your voice sucks and you're ugly." Something like that, you know? So, see ya.